Captain Lee Jun stood on the bridge of the UES Determination and watched the stars. His ship was big and strong, but today he felt small. The news from the outer colonies was bad. Very bad. "Sir, we got another message from Kepler Station," said his communications officer. The young woman's face was pale. The Vorthon ships hit 3 more mining colonies. No survivors. Lee Jun closed his eyes. Those colonies had families, children. Now they were all gone. The Vorthons had burned everything. "How many does that make this month?" he asked. 15 colonies, sir, and 12 trade ships. 15 colonies. Thousands of people, all dead because the aliens thought humans were weak. Back on Earth, Admiral Park Hana sat in her office deep under the Pacific Ocean. The walls were covered with screens showing maps of human space. Red dots marked where colonies had been attacked. There were too many red dots. Her assistant walked in. "Admiral, the Earth Council wants to see you now." Park Hana stood up. She was a small woman, but her eyes were hard as steel. "Tell them I'm coming." The Earth Council met in Geneva, in a room that had seen many wars. Representatives from every nation sat around a large table. At the head sat President Kang Min-soo. His hair was gray, and his face looked tired. "The situation is getting worse," President Kang said when Park Hana arrived. "The Galactic Federation is not helping us. They say it's just trade disputes." "Trade disputes don't kill children," Park Hana said. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard the anger in it. Dr. Kim Tae, the chief scientist, pulled up a hologram. It showed human space surrounded by alien territories. "The Vorthon Imperium controls the eastern sectors. The Zephyrian Collective has blocked our trade routes in the north, and now the Nexari Empire is taking human prisoners as slaves." "Why are they doing this?" asked a council member. "We've been peaceful for 200 years. Ambassador Choi Yuna spoke up. She had just returned from the Galactic Federation headquarters. "They think we're weak. They see us as scavengers who got lucky and found some good technology. They don't respect us." "Maybe it's time they learned to respect us," Park Hana said. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what she meant. For 2 centuries, humanity had chosen peace. They had traded instead of fighting. They had built colonies instead of weapons. At least that's what everyone thought. President Kang looked around the table. "The aliens have made their choice. They attack our people. They take our children as slaves. They think we will do nothing." "What do you want to do?" asked Dr. Kim Tae. "We give them one last chance," President Kang said. "One final warning." Ambassador Choi Yuna shook her head. "Sir, I've tried talking to them. They laugh at our diplomats. They call us the weak ones." "This won't be a normal diplomatic message," Park Hana said. She turned to President Kang. "Sir, are you authorizing what I think you're authorizing?" President Kang was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Admiral, you have full authority to deliver our message. Make sure they understand. This is their last chance." 3 days later, Captain Lee Jun's ship arrived at the Galactic Federation headquarters. The station was huge, built by a dozen different alien races. Ships from across the galaxy docked there. The UES Determination looked small next to the giant alien vessels. "Sir, they're asking what we want," the communications officer said. "Tell them Captain Lee Jun of Earth requests to speak to the full Federation Assembly. Tell them it's urgent." The alien controller's voice crackled through the speakers. "Human ship, you are not scheduled to speak. Go away." Lee Jun smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Tell them this message is from the Earth Defense Command. Tell them if they don't listen now, they won't get another chance." An hour later, Lee Jun stood in the Great Assembly Hall. Thousands of aliens looked down at him. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of crystal. A few looked almost human, but with extra arms or different colored skin. They all had one thing in common. They thought humans were weak. The Vorthon Emperor spoke first. He was tall and covered in scales. "Why does Earth send us one small ship? Are you surrendering?" "No," Lee Jun said. His voice was calm. "I'm here to deliver a message." "What message?" laughed the Zephyrian queen. She looked like a giant praying mantis. More begging? More requests for mercy? Li Jun reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. He pressed a button, and his voice became louder, reaching every corner of the hall. "This is Earth's final warning," he said. "Stop attacking our colonies. Stop taking our people as slaves. Stop blocking our trade routes. You have 72 hours. The alien started laughing. The sound was terrible. Thousands of different creatures all mocking humanity. "Or what?" roared the Nexari Emperor. He was made of living crystal and stood 3 meters tall. "What will the weak humans do?" Li Jun's expression didn't change. "Or we stop holding back." "Holding back?" The Vorthan Emperor could barely speak through his laughter. "You think you're holding back? We've seen your ships. We've seen your weapons. You have nothing that scares us." "That's what you think," Li Jun said quietly. 72 hours. That's all you get." He turned and walked out of the hall. Behind him, the aliens were still laughing. They thought they had heard the desperate words of a dying race. They thought humans had nothing left. They were about to learn how wrong they were. As Li Jun's ship left the station, Admiral Park Hana was already working. Deep in her command center, she pressed a single button. Across human space, sleeping, systems began to wake up. Hidden weapons started to charge. Ships that had pretended to be traitors began to reveal their true nature. Dr. Kim Tae looked at his screens. Numbers and data flowed past like water. "How long since we've shown them what we can really do?" 200 years, Park Hana said. 200 years of pretending to be weak. 200 years of letting them think we were just lucky scavengers. And if they don't listen to the warning? Park Hana's smile was cold as space. Then they learn why our ancestors conquered their own planet before they learned to fly. The Vorthan Emperor sat on his throne of black stone and laughed until his sides hurt. Around him, his generals shared his amusement. The humans' warning had been the funniest thing they had heard in years. 72 hours. The Emperor wheezed. "Or they stop holding back. Did you hear that?" General Vex, his top military commander, wiped tears from his reptilian eyes. "My lord, I've studied human ships for decades. They have basic shields and simple weapons. Their largest warship is smaller than our patrol boats." "Exactly," the Emperor said. He stood up and walked to a window that showed the stars. "Humans are scavengers. They found some old technology and learned to copy it badly. They think they can threaten us?" On the insect world of Zephyr Prime, the Collective Queen was having a similar conversation. Her advisors buzzed around her in excitement. "Queen Mother, this is perfect," chittered General Buzz. "The humans have given us an excuse to finish them off. We can attack all their colonies at once." The Queen's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "Yes, we'll show the galaxy what happens to species that dare threaten the Collective. Prepare the swarm fleets." In the crystal cities of Nexar, the Emperor's form glowed with amusement. His body was made of living diamond, and when he laughed, it sounded like breaking glass. "Humans think they're holding back," he said to his war council. "We've captured thousands of their people. They break easily. They die easily. They are soft and weak." "Should we ignore their warning, my Emperor?" asked a crystal general. "Not ignore," the Emperor said. "We'll answer it. Prepare the slave fleets. Bring me 10,000 more humans. Let Earth watch as we take their children." But while the alien leaders laughed, Captain Besua was listening. She sat in a small room filled with screens and recording equipment. Her job was to monitor alien communications, and she was very good at it. "Admiral Park," she said into her communicator. "I'm picking up massive fleet movements. The Vorthons are mobilizing their third battle group. The Zephyrians are launching swarm ships from 12 different worlds, and the Nexari have activated their slave-hunting fleets." "Back on Earth," Admiral Park Hana nodded. "How long until they reach our colonies?" 48 hours for the nearest ones. They're not waiting for the deadline." "Good," Park Hana said. "That makes this easier." At the same time, engineer Yu Sora was working in a secret facility buried under the mountains of Korea. She had been waiting for this day for her entire career. Her fingers flew across control panels as systems that had slept for decades began to wake up. "Activation sequence starting," she reported. "All hidden systems are responding." General Nam Ji-hoon stood in another secret room, this one filled with tactical displays. Red dots showed alien fleets moving toward human space. Blue dots showed human colonies and trade ships. But there were other dots too, green ones that most people didn't know about. "How many civilian ships are actually civilian?" asked his aide. "About 10%, Nam Ji-hoon said. "The rest have been waiting for this day." Commander Song Minho was already moving. He had spent 20 years living on alien worlds pretending to be a simple trader. But he wasn't a traitor. None of his team were traitors. They were the best special forces soldiers humanity had ever produced. "All teams, this is Commander Song," he spoke into his hidden communicator. "Operation Revelation is active. Prepare to shed your covers." Across the galaxy, humans who had lived quiet lives as merchants, scientists, and diplomats suddenly began to change. They moved differently. They talked differently. Their eyes became hard and focused. The galaxy was about to learn what human soldiers really looked like. Dr. Kim Tae stood in his laboratory and watched as his life's work came online. The device in front of him looked simple, just a black box covered in lights. But it was connected to similar boxes throughout human space. Together, they formed a network more powerful than anything the aliens had imagined. "Project Revelation is ready," he reported. "All systems are green." The first sign that something was wrong came 24 hours after Captain Lee Jun's warning. A Vorthon patrol fleet attacked a human mining station in the Kepler system. They expected an easy victory. The station looked defenseless, just a few simple buildings on an asteroid. But when the Vorthon ships opened fire, the asteroid fired back. Weapons that had been hidden in the rock revealed themselves. The mining station's shields were stronger than anything on the Vorthon warships. In 10 minutes, the entire patrol fleet was destroyed. "What happened?" demanded the Vorthon Emperor when he heard the news. We don't know, my lord," General Vex stammered. "The humans had weapons we've never seen before. Their shields held against our best plasma cannons." Similar reports came from Zephyrian space. A swarm of insect ships had attacked a human trade convoy. The convoy looked normal, 5 cargo ships with a small escort. But when the Zephyrians attacked, the cargo ships opened up like flowers. Hidden weapon bays revealed enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The Zephyrian swarm was wiped out in minutes. On Nexar, the Crystal Warriors were having their own problems. They had sent their best slave-hunting fleet to capture humans from a research station. But when they arrived, the research station was gone. In its place was a fortress that bristled with weapons. The Nexari ships tried to retreat, but it was too late. Not one of them escaped. Admiral Park Hana watched the reports come in. Each alien attack had been stopped. Each alien fleet had been destroyed. And they still had 48 hours left on the deadline. "Admiral," Captain Bae Sua reported, "I'm picking up confused chatter from all the alien fleets. They're asking each other what's happening." "What are you telling them?" Park Hana asked. Captain Bae Sua smiled. "Nothing. Let them wonder." The confusion was spreading through the alien alliance. The Vorthon Emperor called an emergency meeting with the other leaders. Their images appeared on screens in his throne room. The Zephyrian Queen's insect face and the Nexari Emperor's crystal form. "What's happening?" the Vorthon Emperor demanded. "My fleets are being destroyed by mining stations. My swarms are being wiped out by cargo ships," the Queen chittered angrily. "My slave hunters found a fortress where there should have been a Chao research station," the Nexari Emperor added. "The humans are using some kind of trick." "It's not possible," General Vex said. "We've been watching them for 200 years. They don't have technology like this." But on a human ship disguised as a simple freighter, Captain Lim Wook was preparing for the real battle to begin. His ship looked like it carried grain and textiles. In reality, it carried enough weapons to level a city. "Sir," his weapons officer said, "all systems are ready. The pretense protocols are disengaged." Captain Lim Wook nodded. For 20 years, his ship had pretended to be a peaceful trader. His crew had acted like simple merchants. But they were all military. They had all been waiting for this moment. "How long until the main alien fleets arrive?" he asked. 18 hours, sir." "Good. Signal the rest of the merchant fleet. It's time to show them what human traders really are." Colonel Ko Nari was getting ready too. She had spent 15 years on the alien world of Vorth Prime, pretending to run a small restaurant. The locals thought she was just another harmless human immigrant. They had no idea she was one of Earth's best military tacticians, or that her restaurant staff were all Special Forces soldiers. "All teams report ready," she said quietly into her communicator. "We have target packages on government buildings, military bases, and communication centers." "Understood," came the reply from Commander Song Minho. "Execute when the main operation begins." Dr. Han Young-ho was making final preparations for humanity's most secret weapon. It wasn't a bomb or a gun. It was something much more dangerous. A device that could disable alien faster-than-light communication across half the galaxy. "Doctor," his assistant asked, "are you sure this will work?" Dr. Han looked at the quantum disruptor array. It had taken 50 years to build and had never been tested at full power. "We're about to find out." As the 72-hour deadline approached, the alien leaders were starting to worry. Their advanced fleets had been destroyed. Their spies reported strange activity throughout human space. Ships were moving, stations were changing. Even human civilians seemed different. "Maybe we should reconsider," suggested one of the Vorthan generals. The Emperor snarled at him. "Reconsider? We are the Vorthan Imperium. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We will not be frightened by a species of scavengers." But deep down, he was beginning to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake. The 72 hours were up. Admiral Park Hana stood in her command center and watched the countdown timer reach 0. Around her, hundreds of officers waited at their stations. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. "Admiral," Captain Bei Sua reported, "alien fleets are still moving toward our colonies." They ignored the deadline. Park Hana nodded. She had expected this. The aliens thought humans were weak. They were about to learn the truth. "Send the activation signal," she ordered. "Drop the pretense. Show them who we really are." Across human space, everything changed in an instant. Captain Lim Wook felt his ship transform around him. The walls that had looked like simple metal became armored battle plating. Hidden weapon bays opened along the hull. The cargo holds that had seemed to carry grain revealed missile launchers and particle beam cannons. "All systems online, Captain," his weapons officer reported. "The Prosperity is ready for combat." Captain Lim smiled. For 20 years, his ship had been disguised as a simple freighter. In reality, the Prosperity was a battlecruiser with enough firepower to fight an entire alien fleet. "Signal the merchant convoy," he ordered. "It's time to stop pretending." Around him, 50 other cargo ships were transforming too. Hidden armor plates slid into position. Weapon systems that had been disguised as storage containers revealed themselves. Engines that had seemed small and weak suddenly showed their true power. The merchant convoy was actually humanity's rapid response strike force. On the mining station in the Kepler system, similar changes were happening. The simple buildings on the asteroid opened like metal flowers. Massive gun barrels emerged from underground bunkers. Shield generators that had been hidden in the rock began to glow with power. The mining station was actually a fortress that could defend an entire star system. Dr. Han Young-ho activated his quantum disruptor array. The device sent invisible waves across the galaxy, targeting alien communication networks. In seconds, every alien fleet lost contact with their home worlds. Their faster-than-light communication systems simply stopped working. "Disruptor active," Dr. Han reported. "Alien FTL communications are down across 3 sectors." But the biggest surprise was yet to come. Fleet Admiral Ro Dayun had been waiting in the outer darkness for this moment. Her fleet had been hidden beyond the edge of known space for decades. 10,000 warships sat in perfect silence, their engines cold, their weapons powered down. Now she gave the order her crews had been waiting for. All ships, activate cloaking systems. Prepare to reveal the first hidden fleet. One by one, 10,000 human warships appeared out of nothing. They had been there all along, invisible and waiting. The fleet was so large it blocked out the stars. These weren't converted cargo ships or disguised mining stations. These were pure military vessels, built for war and crewed by humanity's finest warriors. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything in the alien fleets. "Admiral Rowe to all ships," she broadcast. "Welcome to the real war." The Vorthan Emperor was the first to see them. His invasion fleet had been heading toward Earth when the human ships appeared around them like ghosts made real. One moment space was empty. The next moment it was full of human warships. Where did they come from? He screamed at his sensors. "Officer, unknown, my lord, they weren't there a second ago." The Emperor's flagship, Conqueror of Worlds, was the pride of the Vorthan fleet. It was 2 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy a planet. But the human ship that appeared in front of it was even larger. The UES Inevitable was Captain O'Jimin's command ship. It looked like it had been built by gods of war. Its hull was black as space and covered with weapon batteries. When it powered up its engines, they burned like captured stars. "Vorthan vessel," Captain O's voice came over the communication channel. "This is your only warning. Surrender now or be destroyed." The Vorthan Emperor laughed. He still couldn't believe humans could be a real threat. "One ship against my entire fleet? You're insane." "One ship is all we need," Captain O replied. The Inevitable opened fire. The Vorthan Emperor had never seen weapons like these. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the human ship and cut through his warships like they were made of paper. His strongest shields collapsed in seconds. His armor melted like ice in fire. In 5 minutes, half the Vorthan invasion fleet was destroyed. "Impossible," the Emperor gasped. "Our shields are the best in the galaxy." "Your shields are toys, Captain," O said calmly. "Surrender now or join your ships." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Zephyrian swarm fleets found themselves surrounded by human warships that appeared from nowhere. The insect warriors were fast and deadly, but the humans were faster and deadlier. Major Quan Doha led a boarding party onto a Zephyrian command ship. The insect warriors were twice as large as humans and had natural armor like tank plating. They had claws that could cut through steel and mandibles that could crush bone. It didn't matter. Major Quan moved like lightning. Her enhanced muscles let her hit with the force of a machine. Her improved reflexes made her faster than the eye could follow. She and her soldiers cut through the Zephyrian warriors like they were standing still. "Command, this is Major Quan," she reported as the last alien fell. "Enemy ship secured. They fought well, but they're not in our league." On the crystal world of Nexar, Director Young Eunbi was demonstrating another aspect of human warfare. She stood in the center of the Nexari capital and closed her eyes. When she opened them, they glowed with soft blue light. The Nexari Emperor felt something touch his mind. It was gentle at first, like a whisper. Then it became stronger. What are you doing to me?" he gasped. "Showing you the truth," Director Young said. Her voice seemed to come from inside his head. "You want to know what humans really are? Look." Images flooded the Emperor's crystal mind. He saw human history, not the peaceful traders he thought. He knew but the real story. He saw humans who had conquered their own world through warfare. He saw them spread to the stars not as merchants but as warriors who had chosen to pretend to be merchants. He saw the truth that had been hidden for 200 years. Humans were not scavengers who had found old technology. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they had been holding back their true power since the day they left Earth. "Stop," the Emperor begged. "I don't want to see more." But Director Young wasn't finished. She showed him human soldiers who could fight, barehanded against alien warriors in power armor. She showed him human scientists who understood physics better than species that had been building starships for millennia. She showed him human ships that could cross the galaxy in hours while alien vessels took weeks. We could have conquered the galaxy on the first day we left our solar system, Director Jung said. Instead, we chose to trade. We chose to explore. We chose to be peaceful. But you mistake our kindness for weakness. The Nexari Emperor's crystal form began to crack. His mind couldn't handle the truth. "Please," he whispered. "We surrender. We surrender." But it was too late for some of the alien fleets. Captain Li Jun, who had delivered the original warning, was now showing the galaxy what happened when that warning was ignored. His ship, the UES Determination, revealed its true nature. What had looked like a simple exploration vessel became a ship of war. Its hull bristled with weapons that could crack planets. Its engines burned with power that made stars look dim. "This is Captain Li Jun to all alien vessels," he broadcast. "You had 72 hours. You chose to attack our colonies instead of listening. Now you face the consequences." A Zephyrian battle group tried to escape. Their ships were fast, designed to hit and run like insects. But human FTL technology was different. It was instant. The Zephyrian ships had barely started their escape when human vessels appeared around them. "There is nowhere to run," Captain Li said. "Surrender or be destroyed." Most of the aliens surrendered. They had finally understood what they were facing, but a few kept fighting, unable to believe they had been so wrong about humanity. Those ships were destroyed quickly and efficiently. Engineer Yu Sora watched from her control center as 200 years of careful planning came to fruition. Every human colony revealed its true defenses. Every trade ship dropped its disguise. Every civilian installation showed its military purpose. "Ma'am," her assistant said, "we're getting surrender requests from 17 different alien fleets." "What about the ones that aren't surrendering?" Yu Sora asked. "They're being handled." The galaxy was learning a new truth. For 2 centuries, they had thought humans were weak scavengers who had gotten lucky. Now they understood that humans were apex predators who had chosen to appear weak. The pretense was over. Humanity had revealed its true face to the stars. The aliens thought they had seen everything. They were wrong. Admiral Shinborum sat in the command center deep inside Earth's moon. Around her, massive screens showed the solar system in perfect detail. What the aliens saw as Earth's solar collection, satellites were something very different. "Admiral," her chief engineer reported, "all orbital platforms are online. The Sol defense grid is ready." Admiral Shin smiled. The aliens thought Earth was defended by a few patrol ships and some old missile platforms. They had no idea that the entire solar system was actually one giant weapon. "Show them," she ordered. Around the sun, thousands of objects that looked like simple solar collectors began to change. Their collection arrays folded back to reveal something terrifying: planet-killer weapons powered by the sun itself. Each platform could destroy a world. Together, they could sterilize half the galaxy. But that wasn't all. The asteroids in the belt between Mars and Jupiter began to move. They weren't asteroids. They were camouflaged weapons platforms, each one larger than an alien dreadnought. Even Earth's moon revealed its secret. The side that always faced away from the aliens opened like a metal flower. Hidden inside was the largest weapon humanity had ever built, a cannon that could shoot antimatter shells across interstellar space. "My God," whispered the Vorthan Emperor as his sensors detected the weapons. "The entire solar system is a fortress." "Not just a fortress," Admiral Shin's voice crackled through space. "It's the biggest gun in the galaxy, and it's pointed at you." The message went out to every alien fleet, on every communication channel that still worked. The translation was simple and clear. "This is Earth. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate why no one has ever successfully invaded our home system." Most of the alien fleet surrendered immediately, but the Vorthan Emperor was too proud, too angry to give up. His main battle fleet was still intact, 500 of the most powerful warships the galaxy had ever seen. "We are the Vorthan Imperium," he roared. "We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We will not surrender to scavengers." "Then you'll die like fools," Admiral Shin said calmly. The Sol defense grid fired once. A beam of concentrated solar energy lanced out from the weapons platforms around the sun. It traveled at the speed of light and hit the center of the Vorthon fleet in less than 8 minutes. When the light faded, there was nothing left. 500 warships had been vaporized in an instant. The Vorthon Emperor and his entire fleet were gone, reduced to atoms scattered in space. The remaining alien fleets surrendered so fast their communication officers got sore fingers sending the messages. But humanity wasn't finished showing what they could do. Captain O'Jimin received new orders as he stood on the bridge of the inevitable. Captain, proceed to Nexar Prime. Show them what a real human warship looks like. The inevitable was not just large, it was impossibly advanced. Its hull was made from materials that bent space around them. Its weapons drew power from tiny artificial suns built into the ship. Its shields could stop anything the aliens could throw at them. When it arrived at the Nexari homeworld, the entire planet's defense force was waiting. Thousands of crystal warships surrounded their home, ready to fight to the death. "This is Captain O'Jimin," he announced. "I am alone, and I am enough." The Nexari opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, missile swarms, gravity bombs. Every weapon in their arsenal struck the inevitable at once. The human ship's shields didn't even flicker. "Our turn," Captain O said. The inevitable returned fire with just one weapon, a single antimatter torpedo. But this wasn't a normal torpedo. It was guided by an artificial intelligence smarter than most organic beings. It could dodge any defense and penetrate any shield. The torpedo struck Nexar Prime's orbital defense platform. The explosion created a miniature star that lasted for 30 seconds. When it faded, the platform was gone. So were the 100 Nexari warships that had been docked with it. "Do you want me to fire again?" Captain O asked politely. The Nexari surrendered. Major Kwandoha was demonstrating human abilities on a more personal level. She had been captured by Zephyrian forces 3 days earlier, along with a dozen of her soldiers. The insects thought they would make good specimens for their research. They were about to learn why capturing human soldiers was a bad idea. Major Kwan looked small and harmless in her cell. She was only 1.6 meters tall and appeared to have no weapons. The Zephyrian guards laughed at their prize, a tiny human female who could barely reach their chest plates. When she broke out of the cell, they stopped laughing. The cell door was made of tungsten steel, designed to hold creatures 10 times stronger than humans. Major Kwan punched through it like it was paper. Her genetically enhanced muscles could generate more force than a small explosion. The first guard never saw her coming. Her fist went through his chest armor and out the other side. The second guard tried to sound the alarm, but found his arm had been removed at the shoulder. He looked down in confusion, then up at the small human woman who had somehow torn off his limb. "Surrender and you live," Major Kwan said calmly. "Fight, and you join your friend." The surviving guards surrendered. Within an hour, Major Kwan and her team had taken control of the entire Zephyrian research facility. They moved through the corridors like deadly ghosts, overwhelming alien soldiers who outweighed them by hundreds of kilograms. "Command, this is Major Kwan," she reported. "Facility secured. We've rescued 500 human prisoners and captured 2,000 enemy personnel." "Understood, Major. How many casualties?" "None on our side. The aliens fought bravely, but courage doesn't overcome physics." Director Jung Eunbi was busy with her own demonstration. She stood in the center of the Vorthen capital city, surrounded by thousands of alien civilians. They had gathered to see the human who claimed to have special powers. "Show us these human abilities," demanded General Vex, the only surviving Vorthen military leader. "Prove you are more than simple flesh and blood." Director Jung closed her eyes and extended her consciousness across the planet. Every Vorthen mind became an open book to her. She could read their thoughts, influence their emotions, even control their actions if she chose. But she did something else instead. "General Vex," she said without opening her eyes, "you're thinking about your son. He joined the military because he wanted to make you proud. You worry that you were too hard on him when he was young." The general's scales turned pale. "How do you know that?" "Counselor Dex," Director Jung continued, "you're worried about the food shortages in the outer colonies. You've been stealing funds meant for the military to buy grain for starving children, the counselor gasped. That information was known only to him. I can read every mind on this planet, Director Jung announced. I can influence your thoughts, control your actions, even drive you insane if I choose. But I won't. Do you know why? The crowd was silent. Because that would make me like you. You conquer because you can. You enslave because you can. You kill because you can. Humans are different. We have power, but we use it wisely. She opened her eyes and they glowed with soft blue light. This is your choice, people of Vorth Prime. Join us as equals, or face us as enemies. But don't mistake our mercy for weakness ever again. The Vorthans knelt as one. They had never encountered a species that combined such devastating power with such restraint. Dr. Han Young-ho was putting the finishing touches on humanity's ultimate demonstration. His quantum disruptor array wasn't just blocking alien communications, it was rewriting the rules of physics in local space. Doctor, his assistant asked, what exactly does this device do? Dr. Han smiled as he made final adjustments to the quantum field generators. It makes our ships faster, our weapons more powerful, and our shields stronger. At the same time, it makes alien technology work poorly or not at all. How is that possible? Because we understand the universe better than they do, Dr. Han explained. While they were building bigger guns, we were studying the fundamental forces of reality. While they were conquering worlds, we were learning to manipulate space and time. The effects were immediate and devastating. Alien ships that tried to escape found their FTL drives failing. Alien weapons that tried to fire discovered their power systems shutting down. Alien shields flickered and died as the quantum fields around them shifted. Meanwhile, human ships became even more powerful. Their weapons struck harder, their engines ran faster. Their shields became nearly impenetrable. It was as if the universe itself had chosen sides. The few alien fleets that were still fighting gave up in despair. How could they battle an enemy that could rewrite the laws of physics? As reports came in from across the galaxy, Admiral Park Hana allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had forced this confrontation. They had refused to listen to reason. They had chosen to see humanity's peaceful nature as weakness. Now they knew the truth. Humans weren't weak scavengers who had gotten lucky. They were apex predators who had spent 2 centuries pretending to be something else. The pretense was over. The galaxy belonged to humanity now. The war was over in 6 days. President Kang Min-soo stood before the Galactic Assembly, but this time he was not asking for anything. The great hall that had once been filled with alien laughter was now silent. Representatives from 100 worlds sat quietly waiting to hear what humanity would do with them. 6 days ago you thought we were weak, President Kang said. His voice was calm, but it carried to every corner of the hall. You attacked our colonies. You enslaved our people. You ignored our warnings because you believed humans were scavengers who had gotten lucky. The alien representatives shifted, uncomfortably in their seats. None of them met his eyes. You were wrong, the president continued. We are not scavengers. We are not lucky. We are the apex species in this galaxy, and we have been holding back our true nature for 200 years. The Zephyrian Queen, one of the few leaders who had survived the war, raised a trembling claw. Why? She chittered. Why did you pretend to be weak? President Kang looked at her with something that might have been pity. Because we hoped you would be better than us. We hoped that if we showed you peace, you would choose peace. We were wrong about that too. Grand Admiral Lee Heejin stepped forward. She wore the uniform of the Human Defense Force, and her medals caught the light like stars. From this day forward, the galaxy will know peace. Real peace, not the illusion of peace we had before. What does that mean? Asked the Nexari Emperor. His crystal form was cracked from the mental strain of the war, but he had survived. It means humanity will be the guardians of galactic civilization, Admiral Lee said. We will patrol the space lanes. We will prevent wars between species. We will protect the weak from the strong. Some of the aliens looked hopeful. Others looked afraid. Ambassador Seo Kyung stood up next. She had been humanity's chief negotiator for decades, but Now everyone knew she was much more than that. "We offer you a choice," she announced. "Join the Human Protectorate as equal partners or remain independent under human oversight. But there will be no more conquests, no more slavery, no more attacks on peaceful worlds," the Vorthan general. Vex, the highest-ranking survivor of his species' military, stood slowly. "What if we refuse?" Captain Park Jaewon answered from the back of the hall. "Then you'll face the same fate as those who refused to surrender during the war." Everyone remembered what had happened to the Vorthan Emperor and his fleet. They had been vaporized by a single shot from Earth's solar defense grid. "But," Captain Park continued, "we don't want to rule through fear. We want to rule through trust." He walked to the center of the hall, and as he moved, holographic displays appeared around him. They showed human colonies where aliens and humans worked side by side. They showed human ships protecting alien trade vessels from pirates. They showed human doctors treating alien patients. "This is what we offer," Captain Park said. "Partnership, not domination. Protection, not conquest. We have the power to take anything we want from you. Instead, we want to give you something. A galaxy where all species can live in peace." The first to accept was the Nexari Emperor. His people had seen what human psionics could do, and they knew resistance was hopeless. But more than that, Director Young Unbi had shown them humanity's true nature. Humans had incredible power, but they used it with wisdom and restraint. "The Nexari Empire accepts human protection," he announced. "We request partnership status in the Human Protectorate." The Zephyrian Queen was next. Her species had always respected strength, and humanity had proven they were the strongest. "The Zephyrian Collective acknowledges human supremacy. We request guidance in becoming worthy partners." One by one, the other species followed. Some did it eagerly, grateful to finally have real protection from aggressive neighbors. Others did it reluctantly, knowing they had no choice. But all of them did it. The galaxy had a new order. 6 months later, Captain Lee Jun stood on the observation deck of the UES Determination and watched the stars. His ship was patrolling the trade routes, making sure they stayed safe. It was different from the old days when human merchants had to pretend to be helpless if pirates attacked. Now pirates took one look at human patrol ships and found somewhere else to be. "Captain," his communications officer reported, "we're getting a distress signal from a Corvan freighter. They're under attack by unknown hostiles." "Set course and intercept," Captain Lee ordered. "Maximum speed." The Determination arrived at the battle in minutes. 3 pirate ships were attacking a single alien freighter. The pirates were from a species called the Ravagers. They had refused to join the Human Protectorate and were still trying to raid and pillage like the old days. "Pirate vessels, this is Captain Lee Jun of the Human Defense Force," he announced. "You will cease your attack and surrender immediately." The lead pirate ship responded with weapons fire. The energy beams struck the Determination's shields and simply disappeared. "Wrong choice," Captain Lee said quietly. The Determination returned fire once. A single antimatter torpedo struck the lead pirate ship and erased it from existence. The other 2 pirates surrendered so fast they almost crashed into each other trying to broadcast their surrender. "Corvan freighter, this is the UES Determination," Captain Lee called. "Are you damaged?" "No, sir," came the grateful reply. "Thank you for the rescue. The Ravagers have been attacking ships in this sector for weeks." "Not anymore," Captain Lee said. He turned to his tactical officer. "Send a squadron to hunt down the rest of their fleet. I want this sector clean by tomorrow." "Yes, sir. What about the prisoners?" "Standard procedure. They get one chance to reform and join civilized society. If they refuse, they get one way ticket to a penal colony." This was the new galaxy. Pirates couldn't hide because human sensors could track them anywhere. Aggressive species couldn't build invasion fleets because human intelligence knew about every ship before it was built. Wars between species couldn't start because human peacekeepers stopped them before they began. On Earth, Admiral Park Hana looked at reports from across human space. Crime was at an all-time low. Trade was booming. Scientific cooperation between species had led to breakthroughs that benefited everyone. Ma'am, her aide reported, we're getting requests from 12 more species to join the Protectorate. What about the ones who haven't joined yet? They're staying quiet and not bothering anyone. The Krellans are actually helping us hunt down the Ravager pirates. Admiral Park smiled. The Krellans had been one of the most aggressive species in the galaxy before the war. Now they were so eager to stay on humanity's good side that they volunteered for peacekeeping duty. Dr. Kim Tae was working on a different kind of project. His new laboratory was staffed by scientists from 20 different species, all working together on problems that had seemed impossible just a year ago. Dr. Kim, his Zephyrian assistant, chittered excitedly. The new shield generator is working perfectly. Combined with Nexari crystal technology and human quantum fields, it's 300% more efficient than anything we've built before. Good, Dr. Kim said. What about the medical project? Even better, sir. Human genetic engineering, Corvin biotechnology, and Altarian healing techniques have produced treatments for diseases that have plagued the galaxy for millennia. This was what humanity had always wanted: cooperation instead of conquest. They had the power to take whatever they wanted, but they chose to work with other species instead. The children were the best sign that the new order was working. On human colonies throughout the galaxy, alien and human children played together, learned together, and grew up as friends. They would never know the fear and hatred that had divided their parents' generation. In schools across the galaxy, young beings learned a new version of history. They learned that humans had once been seen as weak scavengers. They learned that humanity had hidden their true strength for 2 centuries. They learned that when the aliens finally pushed too far, humans had shown them what real power looked like. But most importantly, they learned that humans had chosen to use that power to protect and help, not to conquer and destroy. Why didn't the humans just take over the galaxy from the beginning? Asked a young Zephyrian student. Her teacher, a human named Ms. Park Mira, smiled. Because taking something by force is easy. Building something that lasts, something that makes everyone's lives better, that's much harder. Humans chose the harder path because it was the right path. The young student thought about this. Are humans really the strongest species in the galaxy? Yes, Ms. Park said. But do you know what makes them truly powerful? What? They know that being strong means protecting those who are weaker, not bullying them. Years passed. The galaxy grew more peaceful and prosperous than it had ever been. Trade flourished under human protection. Science advanced through cooperation between species. Art and culture bloomed as different worlds shared their knowledge and creativity. And at the center of it all, humanity stood guard. They patrolled the space lanes in ships that could destroy planets. They monitored communications with technology that could rewrite physics. They watched over the galaxy with eyes that could see across time and space. But they used all that power with wisdom and restraint. They had learned the greatest lesson of all, that true strength came not from the ability to destroy, but from the wisdom to protect. The galaxy was finally at peace.